Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And we're speaking with Bill Reynolds. He is a Vietnam vet. And we've been talking about many things, but one of the upcoming events, why don't you tell us about?
Well, the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce is putting on their annual Patriots Luncheon. This will be their 6th annual Patriots Luncheon. And the idea is to honor local veterans from the various wars that they've served in over the years. And this year, as a matter of fact, I just attended a committee meeting yesterday, and we have selected 8 local veterans to be honored at this year's event. It's occurring on July the 13th. 11:30 a.m. at the Hyatt Hotel, and we will have the 8 veterans there. It's always well attended by our business community and veterans communities, and I would hope everyone would take a real interest in it. I think coming in tomorrow's newspaper, in the Signal newspaper, this will be announced in the paper, so you can get all the information there, and I would urge that that you would all consider coming.
And what a $50 per person? Mm-hmm. Where do you find events anymore that are under 125?
Right. It's a pretty
there aren't
good
very
deal.
many. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
and sponsorships are available.
And it's during our radio show.
Aha.
It's a Wednesday. Bill, can you change the day, please?
No. No. It's set in concrete at this point. Yeah.
July 13th. Well, at least it isn't a Friday. It isn't Friday the 13th. If you happen to be superstitious. Yeah. I was going to say supernatural.
That too.
But just to let you know that there will be 8 veterans, as I mentioned. I've invited each member of the branches that the recruiting offices here in Santa Clarita, over at the mall, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, and each of them will be sending one uniformed representative from their branch to participate in this.
Wonderful.
And it's always fun to see these military people show up in full uniform. So, especially the Army uniform, it's spectacular.
Are you allowed to divulge who those 8 veterans are?
It's not been publicly
So when will
announced.
It be out?
It'll be out within days.
Okay.
Yeah, within days. Keep an eye on your local media, and you'll see it.
You know, it's interesting because my 18-year-old grandson just graduated from high school, and he was accepted at UC Riverside to go into the psychology department. He has a 4.6 grade point average. Very smart young man.
Wow.
And he has a brother-in-law who just finished his stint in the Navy and decided to make it a career. And he's working with the Naval Recruiting Office up in Lancaster or Palmdale, one or the other. And my grandson, Benjamin, decided, I'm going to go in the service. And he's going into the Navy. He's taking all of the tests and getting himself set up. Of course, his mom and dad are really disappointed because they wanted him to go to school. Yeah. But there's oh yes, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with taking classes while you're in the service, and when he gets out, he hopefully will still have access to the GI Bill, and he definitely will go back to school.
Well, having military service on your resume, how can that possibly hurt?
Well, that's true. That's true. And look at the life experience.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's a good kid anyway. He's never been into any trouble. Is very disciplined, and my daughter and her husband have done a great job with him because they've urged him to do what he wanted to do.
You know, that's wonderful. I tell you something. I give a ton of credit to any young person that that just on their own decide to enlist in the service and to serve this country. Myself, I was drafted. I didn't have a choice. I don't know that I would have joined. I'm proud that I did. I'm grateful that I did, especially since I lived. But the fact that a young person will leave all of their friends and their family to embark on the unknown,
That's right.
it's a big deal.
That's
and
right.
I give anyone, I give them all credit, big credit to do that, to serve their country. You know, I
Yes.
always go back to JFK's quote from many years ago. It's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that will live in infamy
Yep,
from
yep.
now on. And it's interesting. I have neighbors across the street whose son Isaac was planning to go to college, and he decided, no, I'm going in the service, and he's joining the Marines.
Wow. Gee.
So, and his parents were kind of disappointed because they wanted him to,
Join in the
go
Army?
No, they wanted him to go into the Air Force.
Yeah.
But he chose the Marines. And he's going through all of the machinations
Yep.
to get there, and he'll be leaving in September.
Goodness gracious.
And Russ and I are going to lose a very valuable young man in our community because he helps us
Right.
in many areas, lifting heavy stuff and taking out the trash and that kind of thing. And, we give him a few dollars. But I'm really going to miss him.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, 2 young men in my life who both were going to college and now have made a decision to go into the service.
Yeah. I have a cousin
And
who's serving at
interesting.
Camp Pendleton right now. And I would have never thought in a million years he would have signed up, and I'm so proud that he did. Because I'm not sure he even knew the direction his life was taking, but he settled on the Marine Corps, and God bless him.
We have to make sure, Bill, though, when we have, once again, those serving in uniform come back to not just being a homeless person.
Oh yeah.
We have to tidy that up in our country, and we haven't yet done that. But let me ask you this, you've done a lot for the community, but now you have a different hat on, writing for the Signal.
Yes.
What are your plans in terms of some of the articles that you might be touching on that you want to put out there about our veterans? What kind of things have you thought that you might enlighten the public about?
Well, I'll tell you this, that several months ago, there I was minding my own business in my little office at home, and I received a call from one of the principal owners at the Signal newspaper asking me to come in for a chat. And turns out that we got along really well. He was very assertive on what his plans are for the Signal newspaper, and I liked his general attitude about just maybe the political scene, how he feels about veterans and so forth. He's not a veteran himself, but he holds veterans on a high pedestal, and he and I just clicked, and the next day he called and said, hey, we've been wanting to hire a director of Veterans Affairs, and we would like to bring you on board. And I said, geez, Chuck, I don't want a job. I don't want any responsibilities. And of course he laughed and he says, no, he says, you can come on here. We'll have an office for you. And he says, what we want to do is focus on all things veterans. And so you just keep doing what you're doing in the veteran community, but just tell us about it. So that has led me to then to writing articles about our local veterans, shining the light on what our local veterans have done for this country. I started off interviewing guys from that served in my unit, my own unit in Vietnam, who live here locally, guys I served with, and now I'm transitioning to a couple of Korean War veterans. I want to do some articles to shine a light on our younger generation of veterans. But it's every week we're going to have articles that will focus on various veterans that live here in Santa Clarita, just to honor them and what they've done for this country. all things veterans we're going to be published in the paper, including this Patriots Luncheon we just talked about. There's an event this Saturday at COC that's hosted by Home Depot, which is basically a nice program for veterans. You can go there and get all kinds of home improvement supplies for veterans. I'm sorry that I don't have the schedule for this, but it's on Saturday at COC. I don't know what the value is of the total giveaway that Home Depot is offering up, but it's huge, and they do this annually. So articles like that will go in the newspaper.
It should be so many other organizations should step forward and do the same thing. When you are a veteran and you come back, you go to the front of the line. You get discounts. You eat the best because you have served. You get everything. You are entitled because you have served. Right. That's how we should honor those who have been in uniform.
Right.
So, I kudos to Home Depot, but others should be doing the same thing.
Well, Chuck Champion at the Signal newspaper has the same exact attitude that you just described, and he's mainly the one reason where I pretty much have come out of my retirement to take on this chore. The other thing that he's interested in doing, which is one of my tasks, is to generate a list of all known veterans by name in the Santa Clarita Valley. They want to honor all veterans as we approach Veterans Day with their names listed in the newspaper. That's a huge undertaking because it's hard to know who all of our veterans are in this town. So I've gone to the various organizations such as the Elks, the Vietnam Veterans of America, American Legion, and so forth, and they're submitting to me their list of veteran names, and those are going on my master list. In tomorrow morning's paper, I believe it is, or Friday morning's paper, there will be an article in there that will let you know if you're a veteran to submit your name to an email address, which is mine, and so all of the names will be added, and those veterans will be honored as we approach Veterans Day.
It's great that you're doing this, but my question and your question before, Bill, was why hasn't this been done before? Why isn't, since we have computers, why isn't it that we don't have a star by people who are veterans in the computer, and when you want to access Veterans of Santa Clarita, you push one button and the list prints out? No, you're going to access Senior Center and all kinds of places to get these names, but it's not there. But it shows how we haven't focused on our veterans, let alone our seniors, but our senior veterans at all, and we need to do that.
Well, I tell you, again, the Signal is under new ownership, and they've taken the bull by the horns to make this happen, and I'm sure that KHTS would be in partnership to help generate this kind of focus on our veteran community, because you know that there are a great many, thousands of veterans that live in the Santa Clarita Valley.
And I'm sure there are still quite a few World War II veterans. You have interviewed a couple or more that you've written up in the Signal.
Well,
that I've read.
I've so far, just at the beginning of this process, I've interviewed Vietnam veterans right now. One of the honorees, I'll tell you this, for the Patriots Luncheon is a World War II veteran. So there are some still around and still able to do these sort of things, and we're reaching out to find them and to honor them as best we can.
Yeah. Senior Center has lots of veterans from the different wars who are participating over there now, and we honor them all the time when we can.
Yeah. Well, Robin Clow and I have been in communication, so she sent me a list of all of the veterans that they're aware of from the Senior Center. I got 188 names from the Elks Lodge.
Wow.
So the names are rolling in.
Great.
But I think that's wonderful, though. It really is. To have every veteran in this Santa Clarita Valley listed in a newspaper.
Yeah.
What an honor.
If we can get them all, it'll be, that's the bugaboo, is that you're not going to be able to get them all. because people have busy lives. You know, they're not going to necessarily pay attention to articles in the newspaper or this radio station to know
That's true.
to send in an email to me. And let me tell you right now, if you want to add your name to the list, you can contact me, Bill Reynolds, at BILLRY @ca.rr.com. Send me an email with your name, and you'll be added to the list. I would like to also know your branch and dates of service.
Yes, that's what I was going to say,
Yeah.
because that would be important.
Yep.
So do you want to repeat that email address?
Yes, again, it's Bill Reynolds, and the address is BILLRY @ca.rr.com.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, I think we need to start here in Santa Clarita, because Santa Clarita is unique. But I think we need to, you just can't do it all, you know, and Bill, you can't. I mean, it's just too much to do,
Right.
you know, but your role can be sustain a movement that helps to focus on what we potentially can do. And,
Yeah.
you know, my suggestion is that we look at the veteran homeless, the seniors also who might be homeless, and, you know, look at that as an upshot that we can do something about in our community.
Yeah.
I think, as you know, there's reluctance for city council, for whatever reason, not to have some of these things done, not so-called for veterans, because I think they've done a lot of things for veterans, but the memorial that you're trying to put out there has been put on the back burner to a certain degree, where it's gone to be studied, and I'm okay with that. But, you know, to me, this is a easy call. You know, this is not something that needs to be even barely discussed. This is an easy call. So, but, you know, I think some people might be afraid of the park over here, the Veterans Park, and maybe not wanting to participate or have a memorial there because of the activities that are going on. But, you know, I think we need to, you know, make sure that the city council and the city knows who everybody is. It's a chessboard. Let's find out who is on the chessboard and define, and through the Signal newspaper, I think you're going to be able to define a lot of the people who are out there who we should honor, even though they're homeless.
Right.
Well,
Maybe
now-
after the break, we could go into the War Memorial for the Veterans Plaza. I'd like to give you an update on that, if I may.
Yeah, well, we have a few more minutes here before we take that break.
Okay.
But you're talking about that war memorial for the Veterans Plaza. Do you plan to have names put on there, or is this just a blanket
No. It's
dedication to veterans?
the idea of this, what we call the Fallen Warriors Monument, a granite monument, is to honor the 50 fallen warriors who perished in war from World War II to present. There are 50 Santa Clarita Valley residents who fought for this country and perished in war. And I want to tell you, some of them are buried on foreign soil. Some of them were buried at sea. And so they need to have their names engraved in stone right here in our Veterans Historical Plaza. I don't know of any other way that you could more properly honor those who've given it all. And as I like to say, they gave up all of their tomorrows for all of our todays. And when you think 20, we lost 20 men in World War II. Can you imagine the population of this community in World War II? 20 to me was a really big number. 14 we lost in Vietnam, you know, back in the 60s. And that, to me, also is a pretty big number. 5 in Korea, and 11 since in the war against terrorism.
Oh, my goodness.
So you add them up, it's 50. And you know, one of the fellows who serves, one of my roles in this city is president of the Santa Clarita Valley Veterans Memorial Committee. We put on the annual Memorial Day ceremony. One of our members, our committee members, is a Gold Star father. And,
Oh, wow.
And he's spoken at City Council more than once, and he wants to see all of our fallen warriors' names engraved in stone, and it would mean so much to him and his family,
And his family.
to have his son's name engraved, and you know, and Councilman Dante Acosta's son's name would be engraved
On there.
in stone too.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a very important project. The city has approved installing a monument there. Last year, when I first presented it to the city, on August the 25th of 2015, they approved the project to go forward, and that it would be a community-funded project.
That's terrific. Now, when we get back from the break, let's delve a little bit more, because I wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
But we need to take a break. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And we're speaking with Bill Reynolds, a Vietnam veteran. And we were talking before the break about the new Veterans Plaza Memorial that's going to be up. And I'm wondering, will there be room on that actual memorial for additional names to be added?
Unfortunately.
Absolutely. The design criteria is that there is to be space to add names should we require it at some time in the future. You know, we have a memorial wall at Eternal Valley, and part of our annual Memorial Day ceremony is reading all of the 1,100 names that are on that wall. There's 1,100 names on that wall, and to qualify to have your name engraved there, you have to be, well, deceased, and you have to have served the country, and you have to have some association to the Santa Clarita Valley. It's not a memorial wall that per se honors those who fell in battle and war. This is for any veteran who's associated, you know, to the city, to have their names engraved there. And we're adding names every year to that granite monument. The idea with this Fallen Warriors Monument, as we call it for the Veterans Historical Plaza, is to honor those 50 who perished in war since World War II, but knowing how things are in the real world, unfortunately, there's probably going to require some additions to that wall as we go forward in time. So yes, there will be space to add those. You know, the beautiful thing about this proposal that we have from a company back east. Picture this on granite. The laser etched artwork that the laser etchings that they do includes on the backside of this memorial fantastic artwork depicting images from World War II to present.
Wow.
And the laser etchings they do, it's pure art. I've reviewed it with Patty Rasmussen, who's on the Arts Commission. She just fell in love with it. She just thought this was the most beautiful thing. And everyone that I've spoken to around the city has fully embraced this. You know, when it was said at City Council that this would be community funded, I went out there and talked to the community. I've been all over the place talking to the SCV Chamber, the Elks, you name it, every organization around town, Vietnam Veterans of America, American Legion, everybody is on board. And the person who first gave me this phrase when I was showing her the proposal, Terry Crane, who was with the SCV Chamber, I barely got into it, and I was showing her the samples of granite that I have, and she goes, well, this is a no-brainer. And I have heard that constantly throughout this city. I've had people step up and make pledges of money to contribute to this. There are a couple of people around town that have, for some unknown reason, have a problem with this veterans or this Fallen Warriors Monument going there, and I
have to ask
But
why.
it's a logical place for
But
it.
we won't ask that right now. We're just moving
Well,
forward.
I don't mind addressing it a little bit. My thoughts about. They went through a lot of time and effort designing that plaza, and there was a lot of angst about how it
yes.
should be designed, and they finally settled on it. And you know what? It's beautiful. It's
Oh,
a
it
beautiful
is.
plaza. It's like
It
a
is.
shrine to veterans. And so some people say, well, it can't be changed because we went to so much trouble to have this design done, and a lot of contributions came in, and it is what it is. They don't want to make changes there.
But
And
this is an addition.
yeah,
it's
my
not a
attitude
change.
Everything
is
is made to
It's
be
an
added
addition.
on to.
Absolutely.
my attitude is that the city is taking the bull by the horns for many years now to enhance and upgrade downtown Newhall.
Right.
Lots of changes downtown
Added
Newhall.
to-
Added, and so I see this as an enhancement to the Veterans Historical Plaza. And the other thing I want to point out is back when they were discussing all of this, I don't think anybody thought to do the research to determine how many we lost
Yeah.
in World War II and so forth.
no
I just
idea.
don't think they did. And so I just think it just came about out of conversation at the Elks Lodge. You know?
Well,
That's a
these
great
conversations, great place, but we have to move forward on this. This is a slam dunk, and without your efforts, though, Bill, it wouldn't be happening. We appreciate everything that you're doing for our seniors, our veterans, the community. Thanks so much. Once again, I want to give your email address, billry@ca.rr.com. Bill Reynolds, we are honored to have you on the show, and we'll have you again. We just need to continue this discussion.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
guys. Appreciate it.
Yes.
We are sponsored by Advanced Audiology and SCV Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.